Hello, this is Matt, normal guy, common hobby, but maybe a different way to look at things. Now, I wanted today to talk about the history of silver. So I think it's pretty amazing. I've been learning a lot. So we had the 1792 Coinage Act, which made every dollar be 371 4/16 grains of silver equal to $1. So 416 standard grains, because they were basing it on an 89.2% purity, which was based on the Spanish mill dollar. So either way though, 371.25 grains over 480 equals 0.773 ounces of silver. So that's an important number to remember. 1837 Coinage Act, they set the gold to silver ratio 16:1. They then made the silver dollar 412.5 grains, which is what we know of as today, 90% pure, 26.73 grams. Again, 90% pure, so they maintain that it's still $1 is equal to 0.773 ounces of silver. So we have the seated Liberty dollar from 1840 to 1873. And here is a seated Liberty dollar. Now hold on till the end because I'm going to show you something special about this seated Liberty dollar. Then there was the crime of 1873. So due to the Comstock Lode find, the value of silver contained within a dollar dropped because there was more abundance. So the value of the silver dropped beneath the value of the actual dollar. So basically silver was demonetized. They did authorize a trade dollar though. From 1873, 1873 to 1885, they issued what they called a trade dollar, which was 420 grains. Here's the back of one, 420 grains, and here's the front. So these were a short time. They're basically used for international trade. They said most of them ended up in China because we were trading with them. But in the U.S., we did not have any silver dollars made at that time. So 1873 is when the seated Liberty ended. They did authorize this till 1885, and it wasn't until 1878, the Bland-Allison Act, is when we got the Morgan dollars that everybody knows. So everybody knows of the Morgan dollar as the silver dollar. Now this, again, 90% pure, still maintaining the same 0.773 ounces of silver. So now before I talk about the bottom, I want to show you guys something pretty interesting about the seated Liberty, that trade dollar, and the Morgan. So let's start with the Morgan. I have a scale, and the Morgan is supposed to weigh 26.73. So I'm going to weigh it. Okay, this one's a little light. Maybe it's fake. Okay, let's look at the trade dollar. This one, actually, the date right off the bat. Okay, so let's look at the trade dollar. The date right off the bat should tell you something. This says it says 1798. Again, the trade dollar was only made from 1873 to 1885. But also, watch this. It's not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to be that magnetic. The seated Liberty dollar I showed you earlier, look at this. Also fake, got in China. Now here's a trade dollar that is the correct date. It is not magnetic. You see? But let's test the weight. It should be 420 grains. It's 26.8. It's actually pretty close. So I need to double check this. I thought it was fake. Maybe it's real. I don't know. We'll check. But anyways, that's interesting. You do have to check your silver. Here's a Morgan. That's fake. It should slide off. But I do have some real piece dollars and Morgans that I was comparing them against. So maybe I have to do a little more homework to show which one's real and which one's fake. But I know you can buy a slide. So the ones up top are real. And you see that it kind of gets hung up kind of gets hung up, but this was amazing. So be on the lookout for things like this. Blatantly fake. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? And here, just while we have the magnet out, I did have this. It says 100 mils troy ounce. So I've always held this. I never knew if it was real or fake. But again, with the magnet, pretty fake. That's even through the plastic. So you got to be careful with your silver. Now I do want to talk about the last thing on this, which is 1853. Now what they did, they did reduce the amount of silver or the size in the dimes, quarters, and the half dollars. Now they maintained the Morgan dollars. They stayed 0.773, but with the change, they reduced the amount because they didn't want people to hoard the dimes, quarters, and the halves. So they reduced them down to 0.7232 ounces. So again, we went from 0.773 to 0.723 in change. So it made me wonder, when back then, obviously you would have preferred to have Morgans. So when you had your dollar certificates, you could take them to the mint or the treasury and say, I want dollars. But I did hear that if you asked for dollars, they would ask for more premium. So getting the quarters actually did cost you less, even though face value. So that's why I think the Morgans and the peace dollars have always remained different, right? Like you can buy junk constitutional silver that are quarters, halves, and dimes at one rate, but when you start talking about Morgans and peace dollars, you're talking about something different. So I just thought that was interesting. I just wanted to share what I learned here. I think this is extremely interesting, that in the Constitution it said a dollar is 0.773 ounces. And that actually it said if you ever counterfeit or you start clipping or doing anything to mess with that ratio, it's the penalty of death for debasing the currency. But as of 1964, basically, we got rid of all silver. So we really did it and nobody got penalized, so which I think that's pretty interesting. But that's what I know for now. This is the history of silver. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.